Welcome to Professor Meiselas' classroom. We're going to discuss the 42-page ethics report into Matt Gaetz that was just made public. Matt Gaetz wanted to block this report from being public, and we see why. There was substantial evidence to support findings by the bipartisan House Ethics Committee, made up of Democrats and Republicans, that Matt Gaetz engaged in statutory rape in violation of Florida law of a 17-year-old girl, that Matt Gaetz was involved in illicit drug use, that Matt Gaetz was involved in the obstruction of the investigation into him, and that Matt Gaetz was involved in receiving improper gifts, and other misconduct, including Matt Gaetz hiring sex workers as well, in addition to the statutory rape situation. Let's go through the 42-page report in detail like you've never seen it anywhere other than here on the MeidasTouch network. First, let's just take a look at what the findings are so you can see the main findings of the report. Here they are right there. The House Ethics Committee found substantial evidence of the following. From at least 2017 to 2020, Representative Gaetz regularly paid women for engaging in sexual activity with him. In 2017, Representative Gaetz engaged in sexual activity with a 17-year-old girl. During the period 2017 to 2019, Representative Gaetz used or possessed illegal drugs, including cocaine and ecstasy, on multiple occasions. Representative Gaetz accepted gifts, including transportation and lodging, in connection with a 2018 trip to the Bahamas, in excess of permissible amounts where illicit activity is alleged to have taken place. In 2018, Representative Gaetz arranged for his chief of staff to assist a woman with whom he engaged in sexual activity in obtaining a passport, falsely indicating to the U.S. Department of State that she was a constituent. Representative Gaetz knowingly and willfully sought to impede and obstruct the committee's investigation of his conduct. Representative Gaetz has acted in a manner that reflects discreditably upon the House. We're going to go through more pages of this report, but I do think it's important. Number one, I'm glad that this bipartisan House Ethics Committee released this report so people are aware that Matt Gaetz is a predator, that there is a predator on the loose. I also want to point out, though, as recently as yesterday, Donald Trump was applauding Matt Gaetz at a major Republican convention. Trump putting his arm around Matt Gaetz and affirmatively supporting him, and thereby supporting this conduct, in my opinion, by supporting the individual who engaged in it. Also, I think we should reflect upon the fact that the Speaker of the House, MAGA Mike Johnson, and most of the MAGA Republicans in the House voted to block the release of this report. So MAGA Mike Johnson and these MAGA Republicans who like to go out there and say they're these evangelical Christians and family values, they knew about this stuff that I'm reading for you right now, and they chose to block it. Thankfully, a bipartisan committee agreed to release it, and it's probably, frankly, because Matt Gaetz screwing over Kevin McCarthy and costing Kevin McCarthy the speakership, that McCarthy had his loyalists on the ethics committee that were Republicans release it. Otherwise, this probably would not have been released if it wasn't for that personal conflict between McCarthy and Gaetz. All of the Republicans, most of them, voted to block this. Let's go take a look at the next page of the report. It says, Representative Gaetz was uncooperative throughout the committee's review. He provided minimal documentation in response to the committee's requests. He also did not agree to a voluntary interview. On July 11, 2024, the committee issued a subpoena to Representative Gaetz for his testimony. He did not appear despite having received a notice of the date and time of the deposition. The committee then sent Representative Gaetz a set of written questions to which he issued a public response that ignored most of the direct questions about his misconduct, and he mischaracterized the committee's investigation and his participation up to that point. I thought it was important that I shared that with you as well, because when Matt Gaetz says, oh, this was unfair, they never gave me an opportunity to tell my side of the story, it's just one-sided. As you can see, Matt Gaetz decided that he was not going to cooperate, but instead he was going to go on right-wing media to try to trash the committee's investigation. It goes on to talk about how Florida state laws were implicated and violated by Matt Gaetz. Under Florida statutory rape law, it is a felony for a person 24 years of age or older to engage in sexual activity with a 16 or 17-year-old. A person charged with this offense may not claim ignorance or misrepresentation of the minor's age as a defense. It's also a criminal offense under Florida state law to solicit, induce, entice, or procure another to commit prostitution. In Florida, unauthorized possession of controlled substances is also a criminal offense. And then the Ethics Committee finds that Matt Gaetz violated the Florida law. Now, one of the individuals who was a former attorney general in Florida, Pam Bondi, is now the attorney general of the United States. Florida is obviously run by Republican administrations, and they did not prosecute. To be fair, the Department of Justice did not prosecute Matt Gaetz either. I think that they should have prosecuted Matt Gaetz, but ultimately the state laws would have been the stronger case. The federal laws would have been a federal sex trafficking case, and the feds thought that because the witness at issue was someone who was involved in as a sex worker and was involved in these other activities, that the jury would not ultimately find her to be somebody who they would endear themselves to. And so I disagree with that decision, but ultimately the Ethics Committee here found that Matt Gaetz violated Florida law and violated ethics rules. It goes on to talk about here Representative Gaetz' arrangement with Joel Greenberg. How were the women procured by Matt Gaetz and Greenberg? The committee's records show that shortly after he was sworn into Congress in 2017, Representative Gaetz became friends with Mr. Greenberg, who had also recently taken office as the Seminole County tax collector in Florida. According to Mr. Greenberg, the two met at the house of Christopher Dorworth, a Florida lobbyist. Mr. Greenberg and Representative Gaetz frequently attended parties and other gatherings with young women in attendance. Many of those women were initially contacted by Mr. Greenberg via the website seekingarrangements.com, now seeking.com, and Mr. Greenberg subsequently introduced the women to Representative Gaetz. Seekingarrangement.com advertised itself as a sugar dating website, primarily connecting older men and younger women seeking mutually beneficial relationships. It goes on to say, while there's no evidence that Representative Gaetz had his own account on seekingarrangements.com, Greenberg indicated he frequently showed the site to Gaetz and that he provided his login credentials to Gaetz. According to Mr. Greenberg, he and Representative Gaetz would split the costs of drugs, hotels, and girls. For example, the committee reviewed evidence that such activity occurred in July 2017. Specifically, evidence showed that Gaetz, Greenberg, and others gathered at a rental property located at the Brickell neighborhood of Miami, Florida, for a weekend beginning on July 7th, 2017. Representative Gaetz and Mr. Greenberg also spent time in Fort Lauderdale during the Miami stay, during which time Gaetz withdrew at least $1,200 in cash from 3 different accounts at a single ATM. On June 22, 2017, Representative Gaetz paid $6,308 for a rental booking. On July 9, 2017, Greenberg paid Representative Gaetz $1,600 by check. Greenberg stated the check was reimbursement for a share of the rental. It goes on to say the following chart summarizes payments made by Representative Gaetz to Mr. Greenberg and 2 women via peer-to-peer payment platforms like Venmo and others. And you can see all of them right here. Some of these payments were made through a girlfriend of Matt Gaetz. who then paid the women as well, girlfriend number one, and then all of these thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars were paid to the women. The committee's record indicates that Representative Gaetz was in that long-term relationship with woman one, and therefore some of the payments may have been a legitimate nature. However, as discussed further below, woman number one asserted her Fifth Amendment right when asked about whether the payments to her from Representative Gaetz were for sexual activity and or drugs, and for her to pass on to others for such purposes. Based on the assertion, combined with the evidence received from other sources, the committee found substantial reason to believe that most of these payments were for prostitution and drugs and other illicit and illegal conduct. The committee obtained messages between Greenberg and a 20-year-old woman he met through seeking arrangement who noted, quote, "I usually do $400 per meet. As shown in the following exchange, Mr. Greenberg and the woman made plans to each bring a friend to their meet with typical to the meet. The committee found that the language used by the woman and the amount proposed were consistent with the typical pay-per-meet arrangements made by users of seekingarrangement.com at the time." And just take a look at these text messages. How vile, how disgusting. Messages between Joel Greenberg and 20-year-old female. "If you have a friend that is down, perhaps all four of us can meet up later. Do you party at all?" And then she responds, "Oh, that's perfect. I have a friend who introduced me to the website that I could bring. She's very pretty, great personality. I usually do $400 per meet. Does your friend use the website as well? And yes, I do like to go out sometimes," with an emoji. "Very cool. Yes, he understands the deal. What does your friend look like? $400 is not a problem. Are you both old enough to drink? So what do you have in mind for tonight?" And then Greenberg sends the photo of Matt Gaetz taking a selfie and goes, "My friend. Oh, my friend thinks he's really cute. Well, he's down here for the day. We work hard and play hard." What a disgusting set of text messages these are. As another example, the committee obtained text messages that appeared to show Gaetz messaging a woman he knew through Greenberg, inviting her to travel on a private plane to Key West from May 19th May 19th to May 21st, with, quote, 2 guys, 4 girls, a very high-quality adventurous group. She initially responded, "Yeah, I'm in," to which Gaetz stated, "Fantastic. As is true with all the time you spend with me, it'll be fun and very chill." The same woman was photographed with Gaetz on May 19th, 2017, in Orlando. And then it goes on to talk about all of these arrangements like this. Representative Gaetz's interaction with the minor he met through Mr. Greenberg. Numerous witnesses told the committee that on July 15, 2017, Representative Gaetz attended a party at Mr. Dorworth's home. This party was also attended by Greenberg, Representative Gaetz's then girlfriend, and several others, including victim A, who was 17 years old at the time. The record overwhelmingly suggests that Representative Gaetz had sex with multiple women at the party, including the then 17-year-old, for which they were paid. It goes on to talk about here that the committee received testimony that victim A and Gaetz had sex twice during the party, including at least once in the presence of other attendees. Victim A recalled receiving $400 in cash from Gaetz that evening, which she understood to be payment for sex. At that time, she had just completed her junior year of high school. Victim A said that she did not inform Representative Gaetz that she was under 18 at the time. And so you have Matt Gaetz having sex with a junior in high school in front of people at a party in Florida. I mean, really disgusting and criminal stuff. The committee found Gaetz violated state laws related to sexual misconduct. While it did not find that Gaetz violated sex trafficking laws, the committee did find that Representative Gaetz engaged in commercial sex in violation of Florida law. The committee did find that Representative Gaetz violated Florida's statutory rape law, sexual activity with a 17-year-old. The committee found that Representative Gaetz violated the House gift rule with travel to the Bahamas. The committee found that Representative Gaetz dispensed with special privileges and favors by expediting passport services for one of the women that he had sex with. The committee found Representative Gaetz sought to obstruct this investigation with his conduct. And again, this is a bipartisan report, Republicans and Democrats. Same amount of Republicans as Democrats on this committee. Although, remember, the overall Congress Republicans outside of the committee wanted to try to block this from being made public. But there you have it, folks. And again, this is who the MAGA Republicans were supporting. This is who Donald Trump picked to be the top law enforcement officer of the country. This is who Donald Trump picked to be the top lawyer in the country. Someone with, I thought it was important that I read that to you. That's who Donald Trump wanted to have as the Attorney General. It's really disgusting. And I don't care, again, what your politics are. Right? I mean, we should look at this behavior and say, no, not here. This is not okay. So stop with the This isn't a political thing. This is a human being thing right here. And that's why I wanted to take the time to read it all to you. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and let's get to 4 million subscribers together.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.